On a cold, rainy Tuesday morning in Portland, Oregon, under a damp overpass near the Burnside Bridge, 58-year-old Thomas Ray adjusted the tattered canvas of his makeshift tent. His fingers, stiff from the chill, barely cooperated. The rumble of early traffic mixed with the hiss of rain on pavement, and Tom, as everyone on the street called him, prepared for another day of wandering the city for cans, warmth, and a little dignity. He hadn't always been this way. 10 years ago, he wore a suit. Drove a Honda. Managed accounts at a mid-sized logistics firm. But life has a strange way of unraveling quietly, first a layoff, then his mother's cancer, then depression, then the bottle, and finally, the street. Now, every possession he owned fit into a shopping cart and 2 weather-beaten duffel bags. But what he still had, what no amount of hardship could take, was a code: always do what's right. Even when no one sees. That morning, while rummaging through a dumpster behind a local cafe, he spotted something unusual wedged between 2 garbage bags. A purse. Red leather. Still zipped. Still intact. Tom blinked. Looked around. No one in sight. His stomach growled. Inside could be cash, maybe cards, maybe food vouchers. He took a breath and opened it slowly. No food. No cash. But a driver's license, a pack of gum, a few receipts, a student ID, and a photo of a little girl and a woman, laughing, hugging. The ID read, Rachel McConnell, age 25. He closed the purse. The next day. The sun had barely peeked through the clouds when Rachel returned to the cafe in a panic. Her purse had vanished yesterday during her lunch break. She had retraced every step. Nothing. Then she asked the barista, who pointed toward the alley. There's a homeless man who comes here every morning. You might want to ask him. Folks say he's honest. Rachel hesitated. Then walked behind the cafe, her heels clicking with urgency on the wet pavement. She found Tom crouched under the awning of a closed pawn shop, feeding crumbs to a pigeon. Excuse me, sir. He looked up, tired eyes behind a beard of graying stubble. You didn't happen to find a red purse? Without a word, Tom reached behind him, under a folded tarp, and gently pulled it out. Rachel's eyes widened. Oh my God, that's it. That's my purse. Tom smiled faintly. Didn't look like it should be in a dumpster. Tears welled up in Rachel's eyes. Everything's still in here. You didn't take anything. No ma'am. Figured you'd need it more than I did. She tried to offer him cash. He declined. She tried again. He refused again. I didn't return it for a reward, he said softly. I returned it 'cause it was the right thing to do. That night, Rachel couldn't sleep. The way he'd spoken. The calmness. The humility. She wasn't wealthy. Just a student, working 2 jobs to support her daughter. But what that man did, it stirred something in her soul. She posted the story on social media. This homeless man found my purse in a dumpster. Returned it with everything inside. Refused money. His name is Tom. He lives near Burnside Bridge. Let's do something. The next morning, something happened. Tom woke to a sound he hadn't heard in years. Applause. He opened the flap of his tent and froze. Over 200 strangers stood outside. Some holding coffee. Others with blankets. One woman had a sign that said, "Thank you, Tom. You matter." A man stepped forward. Are you Tom? Tom nodded, bewildered. The man smiled. We read your story. We came to help. Rachel was there too, holding her daughter in her arms. She gave him a warm hug. Tom's eyes welled up. He tried to speak, but his voice broke. Over the course of the next few days, the strangers didn't vanish. They brought food, gift cards, shoes. A barbershop offered him a free haircut and shave. A retired veteran offered to get him a fresh set of clothes. A non-profit heard about the story and offered him temporary housing. But what truly changed things wasn't the material help, it was that people saw him. They didn't walk past. They listened. They cared. One evening, a woman from a local employment agency sat down with Tom. "We have a job opening for someone to assist with warehouse logistics. You have experience?" Tom chuckled. 10 years worth. You want another shot? His face hardened slightly. Not with anger, but resolve. Yes. I do. 6 months later. Tom stood in front of a small crowd gathered at a fundraiser for homelessness awareness. Clean-shaven, in a navy blue jacket, he spoke into the microphone. "I returned a purse. That's it. But what I got in return was something I hadn't felt in years: hope. We think little things don't matter. But they do. Every act of kindness matters. You never know who's watching. You never know what it can spark." He paused. Then smiled at Rachel and her daughter in the front row. "That day, I thought I was helping her. But really, she helped me." Back under the Burnside Bridge, the space where Tom's tent used to be sat empty. In its place, a small plaque had been placed by local volunteers. It read, "Here stood a man who reminded us that goodness isn't about status, but about choice. Thank you, Tom." And though Tom now lived in a small apartment uptown, he visited the plaque often, sitting beside it with a thermos of coffee, always ready with a kind word for those still struggling. Because he knew, one good deed can start a revolution.